pushing out Lower Church, gets one and a second. Timo and a third. Nice fast 3K for Timo. Defrag's got undetected into the Axis Apartments. He's gonna get right up to the spawn. Defrag 1, 2, and 3 kills in the Axis spawn. What a play by Defrag. Now Kanga last alive in mid, standing alone, is able to get 1 and 2 to protect the mid cap, and a third hat trick for Kanga.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Mil-Simp tac shooter and history-based gaming channel. Today I have a very special video for you boys. Grab onto my pocket as we go back, way back through the annals of FPS gaming history. If you did not already know, when Counter-Strike came onto the scene around the turn of the century, everything changed. If you were fortunate enough to own a PC, or like me, had a great friend whose stepdad owned a PC, Counter-Strike was life. Well, if you were a real gamer, of course, not one of those wannabes playing Super Mario World on the SNES. It didn't take long, in fact, Counter-Strike was still in beta, when a competitive scene began to arise, thus solidifying the 5v5 format that would go on to frame FPS gaming for decades to come. Playing Counter-Strike not just for fun, but for keepsies, betting on matches, entering tournaments with big cash prizes. This was a huge chunk of my childhood. I played Counter-Strike for years, over a decade really. In fact, I began playing the original Counter-Strike so early on, frickin' recoil wasn't even in the game yet. It was beta 1.2 or 1.3 if I'm not mistaken. There was one map, CS Siege, and a handful of weapons. And I played all the way up until Condition 0 released, and well, continued to play that and CS 1.6. And I played it just like I play Squad 44 now, like a crazy asshole. Almost always forward, push, push. We may all die doing it, but the enemy must reload eventually. Clans I played on, the teams I played on, I almost always played point man. I was always first in the stack, and I was always first to either die or draw blood. My favorite thing to do was to get that first kill, and then possibly a second, and a third if I had to, conquering my lane, thus coming up behind any of the enemies that were left. I played so radically, play so radically, that it tends to annoy some more reserved players. Saying all this to say that I played Counter-Strike competitively for so long that it became work. It almost just wasn't fun anymore. And that's when Day of Defeat came along. Built on that same Gold Source or Half-Life 1 engine, literally just a simply improved Quake engine, Day of Defeat was the first truly immersive, interactive 3D World War II FPS, and multiplayer of course. It was a match made in heaven. World War II is the epitome of all war, and the style of fighting fit my always pushing forward mentality perfectly. Maybe you don't agree with me? Then why in Counter-Strike, when you press and hold the shift key, you walk? Yet in Day of Defeat, pressing the shift key makes you run. Ah ha ha. The weaponry, the vehicles, the tactics, the style of fighting during World War II is and will forever be the epitome of war. We will be simulating it for millennia to come. I mean, that is the reason there are so many frickin' World War II games. So there I was, 1996, super stoked because my first pubes were coming in. Quake came out and changed everything. I mean everything. In fact, you can dig down in any 3D game, for that matter, and you will find deep down in it original Quake code. So there I am, late 90s, becoming a man, Half-Life releases, blows everybody's mind. One dude freaking uses it to create Counter-Strike, and then years later, Day of Defeat comes out. Of course, it began as a Half-Life third-party mod in 2001, but later, the Day of Defeat team joined Valve and produced a standalone version published through Activision. The actual DoD version 1.0 was officially released in May 2003. Elaborating on the new class shooter format introduced by Team Fortress for Quake. Riflemen moved the fastest, while support infantry with their heavy bars or STG-44s moved the slowest. Sergeants with Thompsons or MP40s had medium speed. However, with the release of 2.0 in October 2001, we saw many new classes like the machine gunner, and the speed differential was eliminated. Believe it or not, but in early builds, there was even a mortar class, although I don't remember it being playable for very long, as it was taken out for being far too OP. Counter-Strike was life for us real gamers right around the turn of the century, but for me at least, Day of Defeat will always hold a maybe even more special place in my heart. The good old days. Ah yeah, talking about the good old days. There are a few local IRL childhood friends that watch the channel, so Dirt, if you're watching, remember when you used to skip school, sneak into my garage, and I would wake up sometime before noon to see you sitting at my PC playing either Counter-Strike or Day of Defeat. For the record, I wasn't skipping, I was sick or something. And Brennan, with your collection of jugs of piss, well, that was more so due to Ultima Online, but that's a story for another day, and it's actually coming soon. Anyway, if you have yet to play this classic, there is no better time to jump in. I'm willing to bet there will always be a server you can jump in. Believe it or not, but there is actually a bustling competitive scene still kicking, alive and well. I will have a link to their Discord down in the pinned comment. In fact, me stumbling onto this still kicking Day of Defeat competitive scene is exactly how this video came about. So I would like to thank The War Within for putting this amazing video together, CK Killa for answering the call with enthusiasm and optimism the moment I beckoned, Illusion, who I believe is a big proponent to the community, kind of running things, keeping things smooth, everyone that participated in this event where we got the gameplay footage, and yeah, if you're an old head like me, or even a young buck that's never played Day of Defeat, come through, jump in a server, hop in a pub, and experience the game that started it all. I think you'll be surprised how competent and fun the gameplay actually is, whilst being a more than 20-year-old game. Alright boys, I want to thank all of you for watching. Please do subscribe, drop a comment pertaining to anything about Day of Defeat or Counter-Strike, Half-Life. A special shout out to my channel members as always, the Mil-Simp minions. I will see you boys in the next one. Y'all be good to each other.